Thanks.
Well, I believe that you're the same people earlier today that heard my orchestra up here. But I need to say something to you. In fact, George asked me to say something about the other project that the Tucson Musicians Museum pursues. We know that their big thrust initially, of course, was to honor the musicians that made our musical culture. But now they're reaching out and going in another direction called a mentorship program, because they all realized that music gives a kid something to believe in about themselves, gives them something to motivate them, gives them something to move on down the road and do something. And so Ruben Moreno and his group and my group, Tucson Musicians Strings, have been selected to prove that. Okay? And obviously, the music is an affair of the heart. We know that because it's the expression of what's inside here. We not only get our own feelings out, if you're a kid, incidentally, constructively, but at the same time, we get exposed to the feelings of some of the greatest musicians that ever wrote music, and that expands us emotionally. But what's the other half of the value here? Very simply, that to become a musician, you have to acquire or come up with the psychological and emotional and intellectual attributes that allow you to have the technique to express your emotions. Okay, and that's what they're trying to do, is to promote and help kids who might perhaps be at risk, but who want to maybe do something, have something inside them that they want to get out. Consequently, the Musicians Museum is now officially raising money to help kids that are identified as perhaps having a desire, having some potential, and they need some help. That's what it's about. Now, does it work? Yes. Now, I've been doing Tucson Junior Strings. I'm on my 47th consecutive year, and I've seen a lot of things go by, and our policy in Junior Strings is we will never turn a kid down from our program for money reasons. That's why they don't have a retirement fund, you understand? Okay, but the truth of the matter is very simply that we believe that, as does Ruben, very, very same idea. I can give you a couple of very good examples. George earlier mentioned a young man, a cellist, that went on to ASU and ROTC and a bunch of other things. Okay, his parents were drug dealers and they ended up in prison. He was on the street, he had no place to go. And Musicians Museum was offering some money to me to use for kids, and I identified this kid and gave him a free ride to a camp that we do on Mount Lemmon. And it inspired him to the point he came back down and said, I'm finishing high school, by golly. He did. He got some help for learning cello, and he got a scholarship to ASU, and he's about to graduate with a degree in music teaching. One or two more, just so you really see what I'm talking about. A young lady that was sent to me by her school orchestra director who really loved to play the violin, and her parents had zero money. And so we took her in Junior Strings, and we got a little bit of help and got her some lessons. And just a few years ago, she's left to go on to other bigger places, but she was concert mistress of the Tucson Symphony. Okay. And there's another one whose parents were both drug addicts, and he ended up in child protective care, and he was brought to us by his school orchestra director, and the Musicians Museum kicked in some money to help get him through our program and get some lessons and things like that. He just spent last season playing with the Boston Symphony and the Boston Pops. He is now concertmaster of the Boston Philharmonic, and it's because music gave him a way out. So, the point is that with a little help, some of these kids can shine. They can arrive at who they are and what they are. And this is what they recognize. The Musicians Museum recognizes that music does that, because a lot of us have been that way. We know. So, all they're asking is, hey, can you help support this program a little bit? you know, this table back here, and etc. You've heard the story, but remember, it's not just tossing money away, it's helping some kid up out the ladder. Good enough? Thank you.
All right, our next honoree, Russell Long. Russell Long grew up in Tucson, learned to play steel string acoustic guitar, gravitating towards the acoustic sounds and 3- and 4-part harmonies of Crosby, Stills and Nash, James Taylor, and Simon and Garfunkel. In college, Russell played in a folk duet, later playing in bluegrass bands. Finally, in 2009, he became a founding member of the Rito River Band. Russell Long. Russell, I interviewed James Taylor one time. It was really interesting. I had James Taylor sitting right there, and I had Ringo Starr sitting right there. And James Taylor is blathering on about his incessant drug use in youth, and all the time that he lost and the whole 9 yards. And then Ringo Starr pops up and starts talking about the months that he'd lost because that he was in the drug stupor and such, and they were admitting that they were having some serious problems when they were young. And James Taylor finally looked at me and he said, "I don't know why I'm telling you this." And so I get back to the station. I've got this great interview with James Taylor and Ringo Starr, and my photographer double punched. Now, most of you don't know what double punched means, except Lou Waters is sitting over there with his lovely wife, Marty. He was an anchor at CNN for many years. He knows exactly what double punch means. It means when he played punch record, he also punched stop. So the entire interview never got recorded. And I watched a great interview with James Taylor and Ringo Starr. Anyway, so another downer. I'm sorry. Russell Long. Russell, take it away. I'm sorry, I just get the blather.
Thank you, bud. So first of all, I want to thank my mama for giving me 5 years of piano lessons that morphed into the ukulele and then the guitar. And thank my wife, Christy, for putting up with my music for 46 years and for letting the Rito River Band play in our living room with all the band equipment set up for 1.5 years. And I'd like to thank the boys in the Rito River Band for playing great music, for allowing me to play great music with them. So I'm going to do 2 songs tonight that I wrote. The first one is a blues song, and it's about a guy who's not very nice. He won't accept responsibility for what he does, and he blames everything on his wife. Imagine that.
Baby says she loves me, but she don't treat me right. Don't get no respect when I come home late at night. I ain't never been wrong, my baby's never been right. I got the mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. When I come home drunk at the end of the day, I expect the kids to be in bed and the bills to be paid. You say I don't do nothing right, I get you, I say I got the mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. From my head down to my shoes, my behavior ain't the news. You think I'd pay my dues? Me and the boys have been rolling the dice. Only lost my paycheck maybe once or twice. When I get home, I think it'd be nice. I got the mean old mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. From my head down to my shoes, my behavior ain't the news. You think I paid my dues? My baby says she loves me, but she don't treat me right. Don't get no respect when I come home late at night. I ain't never been wrong, my baby's never been right. I got the mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. I got the mean old mama blues. Thank you. So this is a song that was inspired by that time in the early morning when you're not quite awake and you're still dreaming, and you're having this dream and you're not sure whether the dream is real or whether you're awake. And so it's well, I fell asleep and I dreamed about you. I dreamt that all our dreams had come true. We had $15 to bring me to straight, and we didn't have to worry about nothing again. Well, I fell asleep and I dreamed about work. They said we didn't have to go no more. My boss was an elevator operator who carried my groceries to my kitchen door. Is this a cloud or bed I should make? If I die, my soul will it take? Someone tell me for goodness sake. Is this a dream or am I awake? Well, I fell asleep and I dreamed about hope, a bailing can in a leaky boat, a rabbit's foot, a lucky charm, a rusted horseshoe on a wooden barn. Well, I fell asleep and I dreamed about war. They said we didn't have to fight no more. The guns and knives turned butterflies that vanished into heaven right before our eyes. Is this a cloud or bed I should lay? If I die, my soul will it take? Someone tell me for goodness sake. Is this a dream or am I awake? Well, I fell asleep and I dreamed about you. I dreamt that all our dreams had come true. We had $15 to bring me to straight, and we didn't have to worry about nothing again. Thank you. Thank you.
so long, ladies and gentlemen. Russell, thank you. Sharon, did you have some words of wisdom for us? Oh, Sharon.